All right. I think I'm just going to do one. Let's try to do an elevator speech on the story of the Bible. All right? Be a quick one. Seriously? All right, so quick elevator speech on the storybook of the Bible. Daniel, not listening here.
I am.
Don't listen. All right, so we'll start at the beginning. God in creation. If we're going to make it quick, basically humans, their purpose are to be rulers and caretakers of all of creation. So at the very beginning, we have heaven and earth together in Eden, meaning the spiritual and the physical were always meant to be together, right? And the caretakers or viceroys or ambassadors of creation were supposed to be, or are supposed to be, humans. So that is the job of humans, to take care of creation and care for it in godly wisdom. That's their job, right? So heaven and earth are together. Oh, yeah. So the choice that humans have is, are they going to care for creation in godly wisdom or their own wisdom? And what happens, Daniel? Not listening, like I said. Humans, with the help of a serpent, this is an interesting part, page 3 of the Bible, right? With the help of a serpent, the serpent deceives the humans to thinking it's better for them to rule in human wisdom, right? So we add a third party here, a spiritual being type thing. There's God or Yahweh, and then there's humans. All these three are part of this story. So the serpent deceives the humans. We also see in Genesis 6 that these spiritual beings intermarry with humans and create more violence, right? So that these spiritual beings can infiltrate daily human life to deceive them from doing what humans are meant to do, which is to rule the world all together in unity with godly wisdom. How about that start to the story? All right. Now, we also see at the end there in Genesis 10 or 11, humans can join in unity in their own wisdom and do very well with technology and whatnot, and create a name for themselves and do things well and in unity, but apart from godly wisdom. And what God does there is he scatters the people, because he's like, you know what? They can do whatever they want, and they can do all sorts of violence and destruction and evil if they have this unity. All right? So basically the nations reject God here at the Tower of Babel, or Babylon, right? And he starts with a new person in Genesis 12, Abram. And it's not really Abram, but he makes a covenant with Abram. And eventually his grandson, Jacob, who becomes Israel, are now called to do what humans are meant to do, right? Or he's going to make a whole nation through Jacob, which is Israel, to be a light to the nations and to pass on God's blessing to the world. How about that? So humans are always meant to be caretakers, rulers, servants of creation. Now he's going to pass that on to Israel. And what do we find in Israel? They're not going to do it either. So at the end of the first 5 books in Deuteronomy, it basically, Moses is talking to Israel before they're going to enter the promised land and all this stuff, right? And he's like, listen, you guys are not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to do a nation to bring light to the nation, or you're supposed to be a nation to bring God's blessing to the nations. You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be a peculiar nation. You're just not going to be able to do it, right? So what God's going to do is he's going to scatter you. It's kind of like what he did in Babel again. And then he mentions the prophet in Deuteronomy 18 is going to draw you all back together again. So back in Genesis 3, with the serpent and the humans, when they're deceived, there's that little bit where the seed of the woman is going to bring about one that is going to crush the head of the serpent, right? And the serpent is going to kind of hurt the snake crusher at its heel. So this is the person this whole story is about, or the main character, if you will, as the kids say. Right? So, again, in Deuteronomy 18, Moses says there's going to be a prophet from among you that you guys have to listen to. You're going to have to follow him, and then he's basically going to lead the way for you guys. Right? So what we see in the rest of the prophets in the Tanakh, we have the Torah, the prophets, and then the writings, right? You remember what the prophets were?
Abraham, Muhammad. Muhammad was
Torah.
Nevi'im, Ketuvim.
Yes. Tanakh is Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim. And in the prophets, we see how basically Israel's going to fail. All right? And there's warnings from the other prophets. Listen, if you guys don't get your act together, you're going to fail. There's a splitting of the nation. There's a northern kingdom and a southern kingdom. After Solomon, the northern kingdom is called Israel. The southern kingdom is called what? Judah.
Wait, what? That was a person?
It was one of the 12 tribes. It was a son of Jacob, but it was also what the southern country of Israel split. It was Israel, and then the southern kingdom was called Judah. So basically, there was an exile. The prophets say, if you're not going to follow me, I'm going to cut you off. We see that in Hosea, where the northern kingdom, or Israel, is cut off and divorced from God. They are exiled and basically taken over by the Assyrians, and the people assimilate. Basically, could explain all this. This is not the best explanation. This is definitely not an elevator speech. And then the southern kingdom is later exiled and conquered by Babylon. So they're still waiting for this prophet. Later on, it says he's also going to be a king from the line of David, right? We see that also in, what was that, 2 Samuel, I believe, 7-ish.
Yo, that's my gym teacher. Yo.
Yeah. You remember him?
Yeah.
Say hi. All right, and then...
Yo, Mr. Mods.
How's it going? Look at you.
He's a middle schooler now.
No, you're at least in 9th grade.
8th
grade. Man, how have you been?
I've been good.
Yeah, come to field day tomorrow.
Field day?
Maybe. I don't know if that's allowed, but...
Yeah, I don't know if he can, but... Still has school.
Good to see you guys.
All right. Say hey to Mr. Mods.
I used to play him back then in basketball.
Huh?
You used to play basketball with him back in the day.
I know. Josh, he always talks about him. Oh, you mean he played basketball?
Yeah, with me.
Oh, with you guys, yeah. All right, anyway. Exiled. Two come together. And then, you have the writings. There's a bunch of stuff in there. Wisdom literature. Good stuff. And then we get to the New Testament. And we have Jesus. And Jesus is that prophet. It's that snake crusher that we all been looking for. And he becomes the human that can do what humans are supposed to do. He gives up his life. He's killed. He is raised from the dead. Something special about this guy, right? And so basically, if we put our faith and trust in this human, we are given, oh yeah, I should have probably added this. The end of Deuteronomy, the humans are not able to do what they're supposed to do because they don't have a circumcised heart. So since we don't have a circumcised heart, there has to be a circumcised heart in the humans to do the things that they're supposed to do and do their purpose, right? We have allusions of this. It's going to happen in Jeremiah and Ezekiel, that God's going to put a new heart in the people that follow him. And then once we have that circumcised heart, we are able to do our good deeds, right? And be the humans we're supposed to be, the image bearers that are supposed to reflect God's wisdom on the earth as we rule and care for the earth, all in unity with one another, right? So basically, when Jesus dies, rises again, and then tells his disciples, go and make disciples of all nations, he is doing what was said to be what was going to happen in Deuteronomy 30, and he's gathering all of Israel back together under that prophet, which is him, Jesus, right? He is the king from the line of David, right? From 2 Samuel 7, or maybe another, I don't know. But basically, he is that. He sends out his disciples to make disciples of all the world, starting in Judea, Samaria, and then the rest of the world. So he's gathering basically all of Israel back together. And that's how the Gentiles are included, because those are the people that assimilated with the Assyrians and spread throughout the nations back when Israel was exiled. Wow, this is a tough story to make shorter. So, didn't do very well. So that's what we're doing now in this age, and then we're looking forward to the age to come when Jesus returns again and brings heaven and earth together with the new Jerusalem coming to earth. Right, Daniel?
Yes.
Not a very good elevator speech. That's what I got. Love you guys.